Requesting attack chopper class.
Strike team are clear to deploy.
Going off grid.
Check fire. Check fire.
Kill all of them.
Bravo. Lima. Alpha. Charlie. Kilo. Oscar. Uniform. Tango.
Hello and welcome to our review for the new Storm Virtual Energy Blackout. The Blackout releases on September 22nd with Global's Eternity Pi. We'll also have a review up for that one if you're interested in it as well. Before we get started, big shout out and thanks as always to Royal Crest Lanes. They're a big part of bringing these videos to you. All it takes is a text and we have everything we need. Also, my code ROSEDAL10 will get you 10% off your order at checkout at CoolWick, and if you check the description, you'll find a bunch of helpful links and information, including our personal specs and a link to buy the Blackout at Mart. I do receive a 5% commission on all sales through the link. My first thought when I saw the Blackout specs was a little disappointment. It's just REX Pearl again, ho-hum. Truthfully, though, they haven't used it a ton since it debuted on the Dark Code over 2 years ago. Even when you count the balls from Roto and Global, they've used it on under a different name, but it feels like it's been fairly high use over the last year. Of course, if I was Hank or Alex looking at this cover core combo, I wouldn't have cared how much it's been used. It's just too good to be abstract about it. It's a perfect fit with what we have in the line right now, and after throwing it, Angel and I don't care either. If it's going to keep producing reactions like this, just go full Frank's Red Hot like B7's been doing with HK22. I'll take the L on this one for being a hipster over the details, and if that was your initial reaction too, just hop in the wagon and take your orange pop flavored cup of Kool-Aid. That's the scent, by the way. It smells like an original rocket. It's fantastic, but moving on. The numbers for the famed Shapelock HD core are a 248 RG, 052 differential, and an 020 intermediate differential in 15 pounds. This core has always been somewhat odd because it's really strong across the board on paper. The only two stronger ones that we're using at the moment are the new Supercoil in the DNA, and then of course the Rad4 in the Code series. But this core has always been really clean and sharp despite the pretty beefy numbers. Going all the way back to the Virtual Gravity, Energy, Nano, then several of the overseas balls, I had a Virtual Tour exclusive if some of you remember. It's always been surprisingly easy down the lane for, again, how strong it is on paper. It does still definitely generate a lot of torque down lane, and the twist here is that it's typically been a slightly forward core too, a very hockey stick, hook set type of look, but REX Pearl has a way of rounding everything out. The Infinite Physics, for example, was much rounder than the previous Physics line releases, and the result here with the Blackout, to put it simply, is a longer and sharper Dark Code. For Angel, I honestly had a bit of trouble figuring out what I was looking at. I resurfaced it down to 1000, then finished it with React-A-Scuff to get it to a 3000-ish grit sheen. It's still very clean up front, nice blendy, roundish arc down lane, but sometimes it sailed a little on her, while sometimes it picked up and drove just fine. It's a little confusing to watch because the entire time, every single shot, the shot shape and general reaction looks much better than the actual consistency and results. I'm not sure I've seen such a pure and great ball reaction and had it almost overwhelm my objectivity about what was actually going on. I think it'll probably just take some more games on it to get it more broken in, but it reacts so good that it should just be, again, some more experience, little adjustment, more games. House shot would probably help too. It really just looks like it's not quite strong enough for this pattern, and Angel was also throwing it extra good. It should be strong enough on paper. Maybe they adjusted the blend. Remember that REX is a combination of NEX and R2S, strong cover and a pretty weak cover, and according to their placement on the strength chart, it's their 4th strongest cover to date, and that seems to suggest that REX is mostly NEX. Maybe they changed the ratio so this is a little weaker than it's been typically. I could see that just based on the reaction. If it was too strong in burning up or puking, it'd be lazy and weak at the pins, but it's not, because even when it didn't quite make it far enough back up the hill, it was still hitting hard and knocking pins down, aside from just the couple half-pocket hits that will happen for lower rev rates with anything and everything no matter what. A few of those hits is par for the course for her, nothing new there. Ultimately, she likes it, I think it looks great, probably again just need a bit more time on it to break it in more. We're going to compare it to the Absolute, which is the latest shiny ASIM in Storm's Premier line, so take a quick look and then we'll talk. These two balls are a shockingly similar look for Angel. It's almost like the same ball in a different color. Same clean and roundish arc, same length, same friction response, same virtually everything. Core specs are also virtually identical. Same RG for both, 050 for the Absolute versus 052 for the Blackout on the differential, and 021 for the Absolute versus 020 for the Blackout on the intermediate differential or strength of the asymmetry, so it's a complete wash on paper for the cores. The Blackout has the much stronger cover on paper though, so this reinforces or seems to reinforce the thought that they changed the NEX to R2S ratio in the cover. However, NEX, for its part, has always been very clean and sharp for how much it actually hooks, so it's historically been a little hard to quantify to begin with, and remember that NEX Pearl on the Axiom Pearl was fairly tame. The Absolute seems a little more consistent at the breakpoint from shot to shot, but the shot shape of the Blackout, for some odd reason, still looks more controllable to me. Just a sucker for the round and continuous ball motion, I guess. Let me know how you see it in the comments. I feel like I could be a little biased because of how well the Blackout shot shape fits my eye. On the other side now, while mine is polished, I did still resurface it down to 1000 grit and then finished it with a light coat of Step 2 compound, so it's not the React-A-Gloss box surface and not nearly as shiny as it would come out of the factory anyway, no matter what they used. As always, factory gloss of any kind is rarely good for ball reaction. It's more for making it look pretty on the wall in the shop. People always ask for surface adjustments in the videos. We feel it helps break the ball in faster anyway, plus it personalizes it for your game and conditions. Plenty of other review channels will try it out of the box, and this is the direction we choose to go based on our experience and recommendations. Not much to say here for me. This is as perfect gets. REX Pearl has been great for me on everything though. Once I've gotten the surface adjusted, of course, it's the perfect blend of everything. Clean but stable, quick but controllable, very round and continuous, so I don't know why my first reaction to the specs was to roll my eyes and be a hipster about what the cover ended up being. REX Pearl on any core has just been magical for me. The Blackout just does everything right. It's incredibly versatile. I have tons of mist room both directions. It's probably the most controllable that a ball that creates this much shape has ever been for me. Typically when something is this clean and sharp, the trade-off is that it's also a little sensitive. But if I give the Blackout room to the left, it turns sideways, but if I keep it closer to the head pin and kind of fade the middle, it gets smoothish and round. It's just an absolute cheat code. That should be the name for the next code line ball, actually. I think they're a little too professional to stoop to a pun like that, but it'd be fun. So the reason that I decided to compare to the Absolute also is that I have a much larger gap from the Absolute to the Blackout than Angel does. Don't worry, I have Dark Code and Infinite Physics comparisons coming, don't at me. My Absolute is decidedly cleaner and weaker than the Blackout, even a bit smoother as well. This flips or negates the observation about the REX cover blend possibly being adjusted. I think it's just fallen into the typical Surface Delta category. I've mentioned several times before that everything hooks with Surface, but weaker covers, like is on the Absolute, get significantly weaker as they lane shine or are polished, while stronger covers still retain most of their strength. They mostly just get longer and sharper. Since Angel uses Surface and I shine mine up, that's a great illustration of this. With both balls dull, the Absolute reaches up quite a bit and seems to be equal on strength to the Blackout, but with both of them being shiny, the Absolute gets quite a bit weaker than the Blackout does and ends up being a decided step down across the board. Like I mentioned, Infinite and Dark Code comparisons are on the way. I know that's what everyone wants to see, and that's the very next thing I'm working on that will be going up soon. The Eternity Pi review is also incoming, and remember, release date for both balls is September 22nd. Down in the description is a link to Bowler's Mart that will get a Blackout or Absolute ordered for you, and of course don't forget my code ROSEDALL10 to get 10% off your order at checkout at CoolWick. Thanks for watching, and may the strikes be with you.